wanted to start helping kids, find their way in getting into the tech industry. One of the things that we see, especially now, is that tech is everywhere. We hear things like fintech and crypto and NFTs and all these types of areas of technology. But what comes with that, besides just the security aspect and the tech aspect, is that financial literacy side of it as well. Whether we're talking to kids, adults, seniors, is really talking to them in things that they already know, right? And so whether it's cryptocurrency or not, everyone knows money.
Hello and welcome to Cissay's Clap Space. My name is Amy Cissay and I am joined by Fred Brandon. I like to call him Brandon, so if you hear me calling him Brandon, it's because that's what I call him. Welcome to the podcast.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself. You do a lot, so I don't want to skim on your introduction, so please introduce yourself for the audience.
Yeah, my name is Fred Brandon. As Amy mentioned, I go by many names. Some people call me Brandon, but I've been working in the tech industry for many years, going on a little bit over 2 decades now, and I've done a lot of different things. A lot of people may know me from Microsoft space, doing a lot of different things with SharePoint, but in recent years, I really started focusing on helping more people get into tech. And things of that sort. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I do, but it's really about helping either people or companies kind of understand and maneuver their way in the tech industry.
And I definitely want to hear more about how you're helping people get into tech, how you're helping kids get into tech and financial literacy, that with some of the programs that you're working with.
So during the pandemic, I think that everyone had to find ways to pivot. And one of the ways that I found is really I wanted to start helping kids, find their way in getting into the tech industry. So what I did was I started working with different organizations. One of them is called Nepris or Pathful now, where I would really go to, because this was the pandemic, I didn't physically have to go to the classrooms, obviously, but I was going to a lot of different classrooms via Zoom or Teams, and really talking to them about their options, trying to get them involved and interested in different STEM careers, whether it was something around Microsoft, or maybe it was something around cybersecurity, or something also related around blockchain and crypto and Web3. Just really teaching them, like, there's so many aspects of getting into tech, and some things that you might not even think about, right, that may be related to tech. People may get into sports, and sports is one of those things where you kind of think of it just like the physicality of sports, but maybe not everyone is talented or gifted to be able to be a great sports star. But there are a lot of different ways. So whether you're looking into project management or team management or sports management, or even just looking at the data around it, there are so many different ways that you can start to maneuver. And that's really what I really pride myself of, being able to kind of talk to kids on a different level of just saying, hey, whether you are coming out next year and thinking about going to college, or getting into a different some type of career, these are some of the options that you have as well, especially when it comes to STEM. And so the foundation that I started, which is called the Flames Foundation. Flames stands for Financial Literacy, Arts, Math, Engineering, and Science. So like STEAM, but with a financial literacy edge with it as well. Because one of the things that we see, especially now, is that tech is everywhere. We hear things like fintech and crypto and NFTs and all these types of areas of technology. But what comes with that, besides just the security aspect and the tech aspect, is that financial literacy side of it as well. So being able to kind of help people understand that there is a there's a small line between the two, and just saying, okay, let's try to talk about how these things coincide, and tech being one of those industries that is very affluent when it comes to having, we'll say, six-figure incomes and higher. But sometimes, we get into the aspect of only seeing the money, but not understanding what to do with it once we get it. So there's always that aspect of having uh, a lot of knowledge when it comes to financial literacy, as well as finding a career, possibly in STEM.
Did you focus on just certain age groups when you were helping kids, or was it? I know you mentioned it when they're transitioning to college. Was it like high school students, or was there a certain demographic?
Yeah, I'm going to say roughly about 12 and up,
Okay.
because sometimes the the schools would reach out to me. They might be in seventh and eighth grade as well, and this is still a great time to kind of be impressionable and try to tell them, these are some of the careers you might want to think about. Sometimes when we ask kids and even adults, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? And it's sometimes they don't know, and sometimes it's some of those basic answers. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be all those type of things, right? But at the same time, I really want to stress the need for children to get into STEM careers, especially women, girls. That is always a big thing to really stress, because that number that that's out there is very small when it comes for a lot of women in tech. And so you see a lot of initiatives to really promote them to get into it, or just kind of see where they fit into that scenario as well. So being able to talk to kids, all ages, is always a good thing, especially the ones that may be coming out in the next few years, and they some of the things that they may not necessarily attribute to the careers that they aspire to get into, right? So like math and science and things of stuff, whether am I ever going to need this when I get out of school, right? And sometimes, whether you're getting into code or you're getting into, cyber or any of those type of things, a lot of those principles around math and science and things of that sort is really needed. So sometimes it's really good to be able to kind of make that impression and kind of tell them, these are, some of the things you may want to consider while you're, aspiring to these different roles once you get out.
So have you figured out a way to make it fun when you're talking about cryptocurrency to a high schooler, or like you said, maybe even an adult that doesn't really understand what it means because they're not in tech, and you're trying to get them excited?
Yeah, and so I think the easiest way that when talking to, whether we're talking to kids, adults, seniors, is really talking to them in things that they already know, right? And so whether it's cryptocurrency or not, everyone knows money, or they think they do, right? And so sometimes we have to talk to them in a different way, because everyone kind of knows what money is really, kind of, and what it does for them. It allows them to buy things and all those type of things, right? And that's what they associate money with. But at the same time, we have to really think about the differences in money, or ways that we use money and spend money now. So whether we're looking at coins and dollars and things of that sort, everyone knows those. Then we're also looking at credit cards. But now we're looking into PayPal and Cash App and all these different things. That's really not about a physical asset anymore. And now we can really start talking to them in a different way, because we've been using credit cards for a very long time, and a lot of people still don't know how that works, right? So and really, when you really think about it, is I'm using this medium, whether it's plastic or cardboard or whatever, it has that magnetic strip on the back, right, which really allows you to transfer money from one account to another. And that's really what you're really doing when we start talking about cryptocurrency, is being able to transfer money from one account to another account. But then because of that word crypto, now we have photography or the security aspect to it a little bit more than some of the things that we're accustomed to using on a day-to-day basis. So being able to kind of talk to them in terms that they know, understanding what money is, how money has worked over the years, throughout the ages. Some countries, are maybe you're bartering. I'm selling, 3 chickens for a cow, right? It's money, it's money, and then or you're using gold pieces or gold bars or any of those type of things that can be a type of value that you're exchanging for goods or services. And so being able to equate that to this new form of using currency it makes it a lot easier for people to grasp that concept.
Do you also talk about some of the risks
Oh
involved?
yeah. Oh yeah. It's you have to include the risk, right? And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people um, they hear the most, right? The
Mm,
downside of using cryptocurrency is because it's pretty much is you. There is no customer support. If you send somebody, you know, the wrong crypto or something like that, or you send it to the wrong person, that's on you. But I also equate that to understanding how that system works. And so I would equate that with send an email to someone, right? Regular
mm.
email. Everyone has an email. I don't care if you're young or old. And I like to use my name because my name is very easy in this scenario. So if I am, having an email address and I want you to send me something, well, I told you my email address is fred@gmail.com. Well, it's not really, but fred@gmail.com is how you're going to send me that email, right? And so what we've understood is, if you want me to receive that, you need to make sure that address is perfect, right? Red@gmail.com, I'm not going to get it. Fred@gmail.co, I'm not going to get it, right? So being understanding that type of concept of saying, I need to make sure that this address is going to be the right person that I'm sending it to, because it could be something as easy as a picture, but it could also be something as, something sensitive information. And if you're sending it to the wrong email address or to the wrong account, then, you're messed up, right? And so having that type of mentality and that type of concept, they understand, I need to make sure that this address that I'm sending to is going to be correct. Otherwise, it may be going to the wrong person. So teaching
And
things of
there's
that
no
sort,
recall button.
understanding, yeah, there's no recall button on that. So you have to just kind of understand some of the security. And, I really promote the basic web security for everyone, just to understand exactly, what's going on. There are, uh, numerous phishing attempts that's out there that, we still see to the day. It's been happening for 20 years and it's still happening and people are still clicking on links, right? And so those are some of the things that we really want to stress to everyone, whether young or old. There are a lot of different things when it comes to tech, regardless if you're sending email or you're sending crypto. You really have to really be careful or what you're doing at all times, and having some type of basic security knowledge is always going to be beneficial for you.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the emails that I receive, they're very crafty and just basic things like if you see something urgent and instead of clicking on that link in the email, just go to the site. If you think that have an account
Right.
where there's this urgent email that says you need to update your payment information. And I got something like that from a system. I won't name the name of it, right? But I went to that particular site,
Right.
logged in, and realized, wait, this isn't even a real issue. And the social engineering is out of this world too, right? Because like even now, some of the phone calls that I'm getting, I got an email saying that there was a security issue with the hosting provider. And of course, instead of
Right.
calling that message, like calling that person back in the voicemail that they sent, I was like, let me call the hosting provider. And sure enough, they were like, yeah, there's no issues on your account. So it's just
Right.
very, and then even when you have like older people, right, that maybe they're not as versed in like some of the security trainings that we're forced to participate in as security, as technical individuals. Like we're forced to do training, or if you're in corporate America, 9 times out of 10, you're forced to do some kind of security training. If there's people that don't have that type of
Right.
training, and they're clicking on links or they're getting phone calls, like my dad, like we have to tell him, like, you can't send this to our group chat,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
it's not a site you should be going to, you know? So that type of education is very
Right.
important.
Exactly. And so those are the types of things that we talk about, is just really trying to help people get into those basics of web security. And whether you want to go into a cybersecurity role or not. Some of those basic things. Even when it comes to making sure that your router admin password is changed. Something basic. Your Wi-Fi is protected at home. There's a lot of different things that you all need to kind of really understand and try to make make it a little bit harder for the guys to disrupt what you do. So those are some of the things that I love to talk about, and just really try to help as many people as possible kind of understand that there are a lot of different things that's out here, we have so many more devices than we used to have. People have smartwatches and glasses, all types of stuff that has, Bluetooth blenders, right? There's so many different endpoints where you really have to start to think. I'm like, wait, anything can be hacked, right? So just kind of finding ways to protect yourself and kind of understand what's out there is really key.
Right. So what are those called? The NRF, the readers in the car keys that are
RFID.
also in, yes, or are those the same ones that are in the debit cards now with the chip?
Yeah, and so exactly, and that's huge now too, to make sure you're protected that way as well, because it used to be a thing where what we just talked about, where you had to swipe that magnetic strip. Now you don't need to do that anymore, right? You're just doing tap and goes right now. So as technology keeps getting more advanced, it makes it a lot easier or harder for us to manage a lot of these different things. To say, okay, maybe I get one of these like RFID protection wallets, or those type of things, or sleeves, so that I'm not someone's not rubbing up against you and scanning your credit cards or something within your purse, and getting your information or getting your money. So those are a lot of different things that you really have to really be careful of. And like I said, as technology keeps advancing, then we have to stay on top of everything as well as individuals.
Absolutely. So how do you keep track of what's going on out here? Do you
It's
read a
it's
lot?
hard.
'Cause-
it's
yeah.
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. Like I said, there's so many different endpoints, right? And you really have to just kind of understand, all the things that you're opening yourself up to. As you mentioned
Mm,
before, you have things. There's a lot of social engineering, and you see a lot of different things on these apps, where And I remember how it used to be long time ago. There would be like these chain letter emails, which would just ask you like every question in the book. And he was like, "Hey, how well do you know your friends?" And fill it in and pass it along, right? I'm just like, so
I
now
remember
we're
that.
starting to see a lot more of that on social media, where people are telling them your age, and what's your favorite color and where you live and all types of stuff. And those are some of the things where you just have to kind of understand the possibilities of social engineering. So you have to stay on top of these things as much as possible, because everything is constantly changing every day, right? It's like, it could be, like I said, it could be those new glasses that take pictures and things of that sort, right? Well, that could be a situation too, because now you're taking pictures, and some people don't realize all the metadata that's on a picture when you take it, even with your phone, right? And so, these are certain things that a lot of people may not necessarily understand, or may not consider. But you may be taking pictures, and it has a timestamp on it, and they know exactly where you took it. They know where you were when you took it, and whether one of those things that we've always said, like if you're going on vacation, you might not necessarily want to post real time. Those are just
Right.
like certain little things that should be common knowledge, because if everyone knows you're in the Keys or over in Europe somewhere, then that could be a security threat as well. So just some of the things are, you just really have to stay on top of. And like I said, as things are continually changing, or some of these apps are opening up new features, and some
Yes.
of those features may not necessarily be the most secure.
And an invasion of privacy. Because who's reading the privacy policies, right?
Yeah, exactly. Your phone is 3 inches tall, and the terms of service is 38 PDFs long. So you're not, no one's just, they just want to play the game or download the app. They're not necessarily reading the terms of service. So yeah, those are
Yeah.
things that people need to really consider when they're downloading apps, and just being a little mindful of some of the restrictions that you may need to put on some of these apps, because maybe if I'm playing a particular game that's on my phone, but now it's opened up my camera, my microphone, my GPS. I'm like, I just wanted to play a game.
That's valid.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so literally what I would do is I will go through the apps and remove permissions off of the apps where I feel like you don't need all those permissions. I'm an Android user. I know that for me, my phone will automatically remove permissions off of apps that are no longer used, which I think is helpful, because it is important, to not just have apps have it. Like you said, why do you need to access my microphone? You don't need that.
Go through those settings. That's going to be big for us.
Yes, absolutely. So even for one of our government contracts that we have, we actually got a notice saying that we cannot connect any government devices to TikTok at all.
Right. It makes sense.
So I love, of course, the touch with the financial literacy as well as what you're doing with tech. I would say one of the points that I thought about when you were mentioning that was the fact that, like, as a business owner, I had to get more financial savvy. Technology was just my lane for the longest, and I had to force myself to learn more about the financials, because you're not going to succeed if you're a business owner and you have no clue what's going on with the financials. So I think that's very important at a young age for people to be exposed to.
Exactly. And I think that, there's always been like these games, especially when I was a kid, where they would have maybe like hot dog stand or lemonade stand or something like that. And it gives you that mentality of kind of understanding how to run a business, right? To say, how much of this do I need? Is this, what are my selling points? How, if it's going to be hot that day, can I raise the lemonade up 10 cents? Because I know there's going to be a lot more foot traffic, boom, all those type of things. And it's like a lot of those games that a lot of people don't, they may take for granted is really, or even Monopoly. I'm always big on Monopoly, right? And just kind of understanding how and why, right? To do certain things, whether you're buying real estate or, understanding this is how you maneuver, make business deals to say, okay, look, you have Marvin Gardens, and I have this railroad over here, so let's trade, right? And so some of the games that we may have taken for granted as kids is really something that we can really use to promote things like financial literacy or business, or just having that kind of like business savviness. Even as a kid, I remember selling like suckers and candy and stuff in school and things of that sort. It'd be like, hey, it's, you can't make it to the store right now, right? I got a bag full of candy. So being able to kind of understand your market, understand the situation. If they can't go to the store until after school, you have a prime you got a prime market right there to be able to sell to, right? So some of the things that you may learn as a kid or play as a kid can definitely be something that you can use later in life. But sometimes we just have to kind of look at it through a different angle, and look at it from a different angle and say, okay, some of the things I always played, as a kid, I need to start using those type of principles in real life. So it kind of, like I said, it really makes it a lot easier for us, especially being able to, talk to business owners, talk to, or if we decide to be entrepreneurs ourselves, that we kind of know exactly, how to move a little bit more strategically moving forward.
Which is very, very true, because when you have your financials up to date, accurate, it helps you to make decisions. You can't really make business decisions if you have no clue as to what's going on. And
Exactly.
that helps you with pivoting. Absolutely.
Exactly. And so one of the things that, I have a t-shirt that I put out like a long time ago that says data rules everything around me. And is really key. Is just being able to understand those numbers, right? And so whether you are crunching numbers, or you're doing, we, and especially in our field, we know a lot of stuff like Power BI and stuff like that, where or Excel and these type of things where we're really understanding the numbers, understanding what's coming in versus what's going out. And then, as you mentioned, you can make key decisions and to see exactly what's going on and understanding why something is happening or where the money is going, or if you need to spend a little bit more in this area as opposed to spending over here because it's not really producing a good ROI. So some of these things that, like we understand as us, is really good to speak to when we're talking to individuals who may be starting to think about starting their own business, or if they are already in the business world that maybe they need to start thinking about a little bit more. And so like some of the kids that I've spoken to, where we were talking about that as well, and then just kind of understanding what they like to do. Some of them sold T-shirts, and then some of them sold tapes or something like that, or sold music. These are something that you really a lot of people are not really thinking of at that age, to say, okay, let me see what works, right? Let me crunch the data and see what's going on and see what's going on. So being able to and this is one of the courses that we provided a couple of years ago, where we had a partnership with Data Camp, and it was really key, where we helped a lot of people get into just learning a lot more about data. And that's, I think this is a great way just to be that, if you want to be an analyst or a business analyst, that's one way of just kind of understanding what the numbers are. And then, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you definitely want to be able to crunch the numbers and see exactly where you need to pivot if you need to.
Absolutely. And if you don't have a clue, get some help. Go on YouTube, figure it out, find a good resource. And I say go on
Right.
YouTube, but you have to, of course, validate that the information that you're getting is a good fit for you. But there's tons of resources out there. There's tons of people out there that can kind of help steer you in the right direction, just to make sure you're going down the right path. And so there's also another adventure that you're on right now. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So yeah, we're here in the DMV, and one of the things that I've also been have the pleasure of being a part of is Blacks in Technology. And so this is a nonprofit. Well, they actually have a profit arm and a nonprofit arm, but Blacks in Technology is really big on helping more Black and brown faces get into tech. They have a lot of different avenues, a lot of different resources on their website. This is blacksintechnology.org, where you can go on there and just check that out. And so they, whether you are trying to get into say security, or get into project management, or get into a lot of different things. Plus, they have a great job board on their website as well. I have the pleasure of working with them in different capacities. Right now, we're looking to open a Alexandria, Virginia chapter There's already a BIT Virginia, which pretty much focuses on the entire state of Virginia, but we really want to kind of localize it a little bit as well, because there's so much happening up here in these cities really close to the DC area, Virginia, Maryland, all of that is right here. So we want to make sure that we're making sure everyone has an opportunity to come out to get to learn as much as they can, especially when organization has really been great, being able to really help people find their way into the tech industry, and it really kind of coincides with the vision and mission of my foundation as well, is just really making sure that people have resources, and that if they are deciding to transition into a tech field, or if they just want to up their skills a little bit, that those resources are available.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you are doing a lot to help people get into the tech community. I'm definitely going to check out Blacks in Tech as well. So definitely keep me posted on some of the events that you all are going to be having. And this is a nationwide organization?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, actually, it's global. It's roughly about 82 chapters across the world. And so when you go on to their website, you can just find, join chapters or something like that. Find a chapter, find one that's close to you, or join a chapter that's closest to you, and feel free, just come on board. I think that this is a great opportunity for people who may not know these resources are available, to really, get their feet wet, especially in a new field.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Brandon, for joining us today. How can everyone get in contact with you?
Yes, so you can check out our website, which is fbflamesfoundation.org. That is the Flames Foundation website. We have Twitter and Instagram and Telegram. all can be FB Flames Found. So at FB Flames Found, you can find us there. If you need to reach out to me personally, you can also reach me on LinkedIn. We also have a foundation page on there as well. So feel free to reach out to me. I'm IMF Brandon on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. So if there may be some information out there that you can go check out on the YouTube page, or just feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
So there's plenty of ways to get in contact with Brandon. I'll drop some of the links below the video. Thank you so much, Brandon. It was a pleasure having you today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. It was awesome. I appreciated all of this, being able to talk.